What if the secret to being truly irresistible wasn't in what you give, but in what you hold back? This line invites reflection, sparks curiosity, and immediately sets the stage for a talk about self, mastery, energy, and relationships without feeling like hype. When a person begins to understand the hidden power of abstinence, the first realization that must come is the guarding of the inner gate. Imagine your mind and heart as a temple. In ancient times, a temple was not a place that anyone could wander into freely. There were gates, there were guardians. There was a boundary between the outside world and the sacred space within. The role of those gates was not to make the temple isolated from life, but to ensure that only what was worthy entered. In the same way, abstinence, whether in physical intimacy, in speech, or in what you consume with your eyes and ears, is a way of standing at your own gate, deciding what deserves to enter. It is not simply about saying no to one thing. It is about saying yes to the kind of life, energy, and peace you wish to cultivate inside yourself. In relationships, the absence of such a gatekeeper leads to confusion, loss of self, and even a slow erosion of dignity. Many people open themselves without consideration, sharing their bodies, their secrets, their deepest emotions, before they have discerned whether the person before them has the maturity, integrity, and care to receive such access. It's like letting strangers walk barefoot through your most sacred space without washing their feet. Over time, you may wonder why you feel drained, unclear, or emotionally fragile. It is not only because of what you gave, but because you allowed it to be taken without the right preparation and intention. Guarding the inner gate requires mindfulness. Mindfulness is not simply the act of meditating in stillness. It is the discipline of being aware of what is entering your life at every moment. This awareness is sharp but calm. It asks you to notice, who am I allowing into my mind through their words? What am I permitting into my heart through shared experiences? How much of my energy am I giving away to people who have not shown they can handle it with care? Without these questions, the gate remains open to anyone, and not everyone who enters is there to honor the space. There is a story of a monk who tended a small shrine in the mountains. He welcomed travelers who sought peace or guidance, offering them tea and shelter. But if a visitor entered with arrogance, speaking harshly or trying to take what was not offered, the monk would kindly escort them out. He was never rude, yet he was firm. Some people criticized him, saying a place of spiritual practice should welcome all. He replied, "If I let the wind blow through here without measure, even the flame on the altar will die." Abstinence works in the same way. It is not about being cold or withholding for the sake of pride. It is about protecting the flame inside from careless winds. In the modern world, where instant gratification has become the norm, guarding the inner gate may seem unnecessary or even old-fashioned to some. But consider how this affects relationships. If you give everything quickly, your attention, your intimacy, your deepest trust, before a foundation is built, the relationship is often built on appetite rather than appreciation. The connection burns brightly, but briefly, like a match that flares up and dies. When you guard the gate, you create space for the other person to earn entry. This waiting allows respect to grow naturally, and respect is the soil in which lasting love takes root. Abstinence in this context does not mean cold avoidance of others, but a conscious pacing. It is the wisdom to say, "I will not let you into my most sacred spaces until I see who you truly are." This is not punishment, it is preservation. When you protect your heart and your body in this way, you also teach others how to approach you. With care, with intention, with reverence. Those who only want to take will leave quickly, frustrated that they cannot cross the threshold easily. Those who genuinely care will stay, learning patience, proving themselves through consistent actions rather than empty promises. Consider a woman who chooses to refrain from physical intimacy early in a relationship. She explains to her partner that her decision is not about rejecting him, but about protecting the sanctity of what she shares. In this space of restraint, she watches how he treats her when desire is not instantly satisfied. Does he show frustration and try to pressure her? Or does he respect her boundaries and focus on building emotional closeness? In the quiet of abstinence, truth emerges more clearly. Without the fog of physical connection, she can see whether his interest lies in her soul or only in her body. Guarding the inner gate also applies to emotional boundaries. Abstinence is not limited to physical acts. It is also the choice to withhold certain confessions or emotional investments until you know someone can hold them with tenderness. There is a difference between vulnerability and exposure. Vulnerability is the opening of the heart to someone trustworthy. Exposure is giving away pieces of yourself to anyone who asks. The first strengthens a bond, the second often leaves you wounded. By practicing emotional abstinence, waiting before you hand over your deepest fears, your traumas, your dreams, you allow the relationship to mature into a safe place before planting such delicate seeds. Mindfulness teaches that every interaction is an exchange of energy. When you open your inner gate without awareness, you may invite in people who consume your energy without giving anything nourishing in return. This can leave you feeling hollow. But when you guard the gate, you are able to choose exchanges that leave you both enriched. In this way, abstinence becomes less about deprivation and more about curation. Choosing what experiences, words, and connections will enter and shape your inner landscape. Ask yourself, in my life right now, where is my gate open too wide? Who have I let in who has not proven themselves worthy of the space they occupy? Where have I allowed my attention, intimacy, or trust to be scattered without reflection? These are not questions to make you withdraw in fear, but to awaken you to your power. Your life is a temple. Your mind is the hall where sacred thoughts live. Your heart is the altar. You decide who may step inside. When you begin to live with this awareness, you will find that you no longer seek validation from every person you meet. You stop chasing approval because you know that your value is not determined by who walks into your life. It is determined by what you allow to remain there. You will notice that the pace of your relationships changes. They move slower, but they are richer. People who once tried to take advantage will fall away, and those who remain will bring greater depth, respect, and stability into your world. The discipline of guarding the inner gate requires practice. At first, you may feel a pull to open the doors wide because of loneliness, excitement, or the fear of losing someone. But like any form of discipline, the strength grows with each choice you make. The first time you say "not yet" to something that does not serve you, you feel a flicker of self-respect. The second time, the flicker becomes a steady flame. Over time, this flame becomes your guiding light. It keeps you warm, it lights your path, and it draws to you those who seek the same light. In this way, abstinence becomes an act of self-love and self-respect. It is a way of honoring your own worth without demanding that anyone else validate it. It is a way of ensuring that the sacred space within you is reserved for those who will cherish it. And it is a reminder that what you choose not to give away too quickly often becomes more valued, more treasured, and more enduring when it is finally shared. There is a kind of power that is rarely spoken about in a world where speed and instant results are praised. It is the power of holding the bowstring. Imagine an archer preparing to shoot. If the bowstring is never pulled back, the arrow will not fly. But if the string is pulled and immediately released without aim, the shot is wasted. The mastery comes not from the release alone, but from the control, the steady hand, the focus, and the patience to hold until the right moment. In life and in relationships, abstinence is very much like holding that bowstring. It is restraint that builds strength, not the constant surrender to every impulse. This is emotional discipline at its deepest level. When you restrain an impulse, you are not denying yourself for the sake of punishment. You are training yourself to master your inner world before you act in the outer one. Many people live as if every desire must be satisfied the moment it appears. If they feel lonely, they rush to fill the emptiness with anyone who will answer. If they feel attraction, they seek immediate physical connection without asking whether it will serve their spirit in the long term. But when you learn to hold the bowstring, you begin to see desire differently. You realize that not every urge is meant to be acted upon immediately. Some are meant to be observed, understood, and guided into something far more meaningful. In relationships, this practice changes everything. When two people come together, there is often an initial surge of attraction, a rush of energy that pulls them toward each other. It is tempting to give in fully to that rush. But like a bowstring released too soon, the relationship can lose its aim without direction. The connection may burn out quickly or land in a place neither person intended. Holding the bowstring is the choice to slow down, to direct the energy toward building trust, understanding, and respect before allowing the physical or emotional release. There was once a martial arts student who trained under a master known for his precision. One day, the student asked to learn the master's special arrow technique. The master handed him a bow and said, "Draw it and hold." The student held for a few seconds before releasing. The master shook his head. Again, this went on for hours until the student's arms trembled. Finally, the master said, "When you learn to hold without shaking, you will learn to aim without doubt." The lesson was not about archery alone. It was about cultivating the endurance to hold back until your energy is fully under your command. Relationships benefit from the same principle. If you can hold your emotional and physical energy without spilling it out too quickly, you enter the connection with strength instead of dependency. This restraint also sharpens your awareness of the other person's character. When you do not rush to give everything, you can watch how the other person reacts to the pace. Do they respect your boundaries, or do they grow impatient and try to push past them? Do they value the time to build something slowly, or do they become distant when their immediate desires are not met? Holding the bowstring creates a natural filter. Those who are only interested in quick satisfaction will fade away, while those who are genuinely interested in you will remain willing to match your pace. It also allows you to notice the subtler layers of connection that are often missed in rushed relationships. Without the constant distraction of satisfying every desire instantly, you begin to see the way the other person listens, how they handle frustration, how they communicate when there is nothing to gain in the moment. These small observations tell you far more about compatibility than moments of passion alone. A strong, lasting relationship is built not on the speed of intimacy, but on the quality of understanding that develops when you hold the bowstring. This is not easy. Holding the bowstring requires a willingness to sit with discomfort. Desire can be a strong current, and the mind will often try to convince you that giving in is the only way to find peace. But peace found in immediate release is short-lived. It fades quickly, often leaving you with questions or regrets. True peace comes from knowing you acted from strength, not from weakness. Every time you hold the bowstring a little longer, you build that strength, Over time, what once felt unbearable becomes natural. You no longer fear the tension. You trust it. Consider someone who decides to wait before becoming physically intimate with a new partner. At first, the decision feels heavy, and they worry it might drive the other person away. But instead of apologizing for the boundary, they stand firm, explaining that they want to build something steady before taking that step. Weeks pass, and they watch how the partner responds. If the partner becomes frustrated and disappears, the truth is revealed. It was never about the connection, only about fulfilling a desire. But if the partner leans in, shows care, and uses the time to deepen emotional closeness, then a foundation is being built that can carry the relationship much further. In another sense, holding the bowstring applies to how you handle conflict in relationships. Many people react immediately when they feel anger or hurt, releasing their words like arrows without aim. The damage caused by these hasty reactions can be difficult to repair. Emotional abstinence in these moments, holding back from speaking until your emotions settle, can transform the outcome. Just as the archer waits for the wind to still before releasing, you wait for your mind to clear so your words land where they are intended. This is not suppression, it is direction. You are still releasing the arrow, but only when it will serve its purpose. There is also a deeper energetic truth in this practice. Every act of restraint preserves your inner power. When you give in to every urge, you scatter your energy into the world without focus, and you often find yourself drained. When you hold, your energy stays within you, circulating, strengthening your presence. This makes you more magnetic to others, not because you are withholding to manipulate, but because people can feel the depth and stability of your energy. It is the same reason a drawn bow feels alive with potential. The power is there, waiting, ready. Ask yourself, in my relationships, where do I release too quickly? Where could I benefit from holding the bowstring a little longer? Not out of fear, but out of respect for myself and the connection I want to build. How often do I act from impulse rather than intention? These questions open the door to a different way of being, one where you are no longer pulled by every passing desire, but guided by the clarity of your aim. With time, you will see that this discipline is not about denying pleasure or connection. It is about ensuring that when you do release, whether it is your love, your body, or your deepest trust, it is sent in the right direction towards someone who has shown they are worthy of receiving it. The bowstring, when held with patience and skill, sends the arrow farther, straighter, and with greater force than a hasty release ever could. In the same way, your love, when given from a place of patience and intention, has a far greater impact than when it is given without thought. There is a light inside every human being. Some call it spirit, some call it life force, some call it soul. Whatever name you give it, it is the energy that makes your eyes bright, your presence warm, and your being alive with meaning. Abstinence, in its truest form, is not about denial. It is about preserving that light. Think of it as a sacred flame. If you place a flame in the open, the wind will snuff it out or scatter it. But if you guard it with care, protecting it from the elements, it will burn steadily, giving light to all who come near. In relationships, this flame is your emotional vitality, your sense of self, your ability to give love without losing the core of who you are. Too many people, in the rush to be loved or accepted, give their flame away without thought. They pour out their attention, affection, and even their bodies to those who have not shown they can honor such gifts. At first, it may feel thrilling to give so freely, like a torch that burns brightly when fuel is poured on it. But over time, without careful tending, the flame weakens. You may find yourself exhausted, resentful, or questioning your worth. The truth is, The flame does not go out because you gave. It goes out because you gave without preservation, without ensuring that your giving was balanced by respect, care, and reciprocity. Preserving the sacred flame requires the awareness to notice when your energy is leaking away. In relationships, this leakage often happens when you give more than the other person is ready or willing to receive with gratitude. It can also happen when you allow yourself to be consumed by someone else's needs, problems, or desires without tending to your own. When you do not guard the flame, you may start to mistake constant giving for love. But love that drains you is not sustainable. It is like burning a candle from both ends until nothing is left. There was once a traveler who came upon a small village in the mountains. In the center of the village was a single lamp that burned day and night, providing light for everyone. The villagers explained that this lamp was special. It had been burning for generations, and as long as it stayed lit, the village thrived. The traveler was curious and asked how they kept it burning so long. One elder replied, "Why never leave it in the wind? We never let the oil run dry, and we never allow those who do not value it to handle it." In the same way, your flame thrives when you protect it from careless hands, feed it with the right kind of fuel, and surround it with those who understand its worth. In relationships, preserving the flame means setting boundaries that keep your emotional and physical energy from being depleted. This is not about building walls to shut people out, but about knowing the difference between those who will help your flame burn brighter and those who will dim it. It means choosing partners, friends, and even family interactions that nourish rather than exhaust you. And it means recognizing that abstinence is one of the most powerful tools for preservation. When you choose not to engage in certain physical or emotional exchanges too soon, you are not withholding love. You are ensuring that your giving happens in a place where it can be cherished and returned. The challenge is that many people fear preservation because they confuse it with selfishness. They think, if I don't give everything right away, they might lose interest. But this mindset often attracts people who are only there for the immediate spark, not the lasting warmth. When you protect your flame, those who are only drawn to quick gratification will drift away, while those who value you for more than what you can give in a moment will remain. This is how preservation not only protects you, it reveals who truly belongs in your life. One woman once shared how she transformed her relationships by changing her approach to giving. In the past, she would throw herself entirely into new connections. Late night calls, constant availability, physical intimacy, without considering whether the other person was investing equally. She often ended up feeling drained and unappreciated. Then she made a quiet vow to herself. She would no longer let her flame be handled carelessly. She slowed her pace. She kept parts of her life private until trust was proven. She gave her time and energy to those who consistently showed they valued her presence. Over time, she noticed something remarkable. Her relationships became fewer, but deeper. The people who remained in her life respected her more, and she no longer felt the hollow exhaustion that had once been so familiar. Preserving the sacred flame also involves tending to it yourself. Abstinence is not only about saying no to others, it is also about saying yes to the practices and habits that keep your inner light strong. This can mean taking time alone to reflect, choosing experiences that bring joy without draining you, and engaging in physical, mental, or spiritual disciplines that keep your energy balanced. In relationships, this self-tending is vital. When you come into a connection with a bright flame, you have more warmth to share without fear of running out. But if you enter already depleted, even the smallest demand can feel overwhelming. It is important to understand that the sacred flame is sensitive to the company you keep. Just as a candle burns steadily in a calm room but flickers wildly in a storm, your energy responds to the environment around you. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, criticism, or chaos, your flame will struggle to stay lit. This is why abstinence often includes abstaining from certain environments, conversations, or people that disturb your peace. Protecting your energy is not a luxury. It is a necessity if you want your relationships to thrive. Ask yourself, who in my life helps my flame burn brighter? Who dims it, even without meaning to? Where am I giving too much without replenishment? These are not questions to inspire judgment of others, but to awaken responsibility for your own well-being. You cannot expect others to guard your flame if you are unwilling to do it yourself. Your energy is your responsibility. Your light belongs to you before it belongs to anyone else. Preserving the sacred flame also deepens intimacy in a way that rushing never can. When you refrain from giving all at once, you create anticipation, and anticipation has a power of its own. It allows trust to grow layer by layer. It allows both people to approach each other with respect for the journey rather than hunger for the destination. In this slow unfolding, the connection becomes something more than momentary satisfaction. It becomes a bond that can withstand time and challenge. There is a saying, if you tend the fire slowly, it will warm you all night. If you throw all the wood on at once, you will be cold by dawn. Relationships are no different. When you preserve your energy and give it with intention, you create warmth that lasts. When you give it all too quickly, the heat may feel intense at first, but it fades, leaving only ashes. Preservation is an act of love for yourself and for those you care about. It says, I value this enough to protect it. It requires awareness, patience, and the courage to walk away from situations where your flame is not respected. But the reward is a life where your light shines steadily, where your giving comes from abundance, and where those who stand in your glow know they are in the presence of something rare. When the waters of a pond are still, they reflect the moon perfectly. But when the surface is disturbed, the reflection becomes distorted. The same is true of the mind. When it is calm and clear, it reflects reality as it is. When it is clouded with distractions, cravings, and unexamined emotions, the truth is bent and decisions are made on illusions rather than reality. Abstinence, when practiced with awareness, is like allowing the pond to settle. It is the quieting of unnecessary noise so that you can see with clarity. This is the essence of the clear mirror. In relationships, clarity is not simply a nice quality to have. It is essential for making choices that protect your heart and your future. Many people enter relationships not because they have seen the truth of the other person, but because they are carried by emotional momentum. They are caught up in attraction, flattered by attention, or swept away by desire. These feelings are not wrong, but they can distort the mirror. They create ripples on the surface of the mind, making it hard to see the person before you for who they truly are. By stepping back, by choosing restraint, whether emotional or physical, you give yourself the space to let those ripples fade, so that your reflection becomes clear. The danger of acting without clarity, that you may end up investing deeply in someone who does not share your values or respect your boundaries. The early days of connection are often the most deceptive. This is when people present their most polished selves, when charm can mask incompatibility, and when the excitement of something new can drown out subtle warning signs. If you rush during this stage, you may miss the quiet indicators that would have guided you toward a wiser choice. The practice of the clear mirror gives you time to observe without the fog of immediate gratification. There was once a craftsman who created mirrors unlike any others. People would travel from far away to see their reflections in his work. One day, a customer noticed him polishing a mirror long after it appeared perfect and asked why. The craftsman replied, "A single invisible layer of dust is enough to blur what is true." The polishing never stops. The same is true of our minds in relationships. Dust settles without us noticing. It might be in the form of assumptions, projections, or the desire to see what we hope for rather than what is real. Abstinence is the polishing cloth. It allows us to keep clearing away these layers until what we see is no longer influenced by wishful thinking. When you choose to slow down in a relationship, you allow the other person's true nature to emerge over time. Without the fast forward of instant intimacy, you see how they handle boredom, frustration, and disappointment. You see whether their kindness is consistent or whether it only appears when they want something from you. You notice whether they respect your boundaries when no one else is watching. These observations cannot be made in the rush of constant emotional or physical indulgence. They require stillness. They require a mind that is not desperate to arrive somewhere, but content to see clearly before moving forward. Clarity of mind is not only about seeing the other person. It is also about seeing yourself. Many people make relationship choices from a place of unresolved wounds or unmet needs. They look for someone to fill a gap rather than someone to walk beside them. When your mind is clouded by loneliness, insecurity, or fear, it is like looking into a warped mirror. You cannot see your own reflection accurately, and so you cannot see others clearly either. Abstinence, in this context, becomes a way to pause long enough to ask, am I drawn to this person because they are truly right for me, or because they are filling a temporary void? That single question, asked from a place of stillness, can prevent years of regret. This clarity also protects against the illusions created by physical intimacy too soon. When you share your body with someone, powerful chemicals are released in the brain that create a sense of bonding and trust, even if that trust has not been earned. This is why some people stay in unhealthy relationships long after they know they should leave. They are bonded not by deep compatibility, but by a biological response that makes letting go more difficult. Abstaining in the early stages allows you to see the relationship without that chemical haze, making it easier to discern whether the connection is truly healthy. A woman once described how practicing this form of restraint changed her life. In the past, she had often entered physical relationships quickly, and each time she found herself emotionally entangled before she truly knew the person. She would ignore red flags because the bond felt so strong. When she decided to wait, she was surprised by how much more she noticed. She saw how some men lost interest when intimacy wasn't immediate, revealing that their intentions were never aligned with hers. She also saw how others respected her choice and used the time to build emotional closeness. In the quiet space abstinence created, she could finally tell the difference between genuine compatibility and temporary attraction. The clear mirror is also important for conflict resolution in relationships. When emotions run high, clarity is often the first thing to disappear. Words are spoken that cannot be taken back. Assumptions are made without evidence, and decisions are driven by the heat of the moment. Practicing abstinence in these moments, choosing not to respond immediately, not to escalate, and not to let the ripples turn into waves, allows the emotional waters to settle. Only then can you respond from a place of truth rather than reaction. This kind of emotional discipline strengthens trust because it shows the other person that you value understanding over winning an argument. Clarity does not mean detachment. It does not mean removing emotion from your decisions entirely. It means seeing emotion for what it is, a guide, but not the entire map. It means allowing the feeling to exist without letting it push you into action before you are ready. In this way, clarity becomes an act of self-respect. It is saying to yourself, I will not make choices that shape my life until I can see the path clearly. Ask yourself, is my current view of this relationship based on reality or on what I wish it to be? What do I see when the waters are still? And what disappears when they are stirred? Am I polishing the mirror of my mind regularly, or am I letting dust settle until my vision is blurred? These questions are not meant to create doubt, but to clear away the fog so that what remains is truth. The clear mirror is not something you achieve once and then keep forever. Like the craftsman's work, it requires ongoing care. Distractions will always try to ripple the surface. Desires will always try to push you toward action before you have seen enough. The discipline is in returning again and again to stillness, allowing time, observation, and patience to do their work. And in relationships, this patience often reveals what nothing else can. Whether you are walking toward someone who will cherish the light you bring, or toward someone who will cloud it, there is a certain beauty in meeting someone who sparks your soul, the kind of meeting that feels like the universe placed them on your path for a reason. But in that beauty lies a subtle danger, the temptation to give so much of yourself that you disappear in the process. It begins innocently, almost invisibly. You want to be agreeable. You want to make the connection work. You want them to feel understood, valued, even cherished. But slowly, without realizing it, you begin adjusting your schedule, your hobbies, your dreams, until one day you catch your reflection and wonder when you stopped recognizing the woman staring back at you. Meeting someone without losing yourself is not about building walls or withholding affection. It is about learning the delicate art of holding your center. True harmony in a relationship is not achieved when two people merge into one indistinguishable being, but when two whole individuals meet as equals, bringing the fullness of their identities into the space they share. It's like two trees growing side by side. Their roots may intertwine, but each trunk remains strong, each crown reaching for the light on its own terms. A woman who knows herself is like an anchor in the middle of the ocean. The waves may rock her, the tide may shift, but she is grounded. That grounding does not mean inflexibility. It means you can bend without breaking. In love, this translates into being able to adapt, compromise, and grow with someone while never letting go of your own voice. When you forget who you are in order to be loved, you are teaching the other person to love a mask, not the real you. And that is a love that will eventually suffocate you. There is a quiet kind of strength in a woman who can say, I love you, but I will not abandon myself for you. It's not a threat. It's a declaration of mutual respect. Relationships that last are built on this respect for your partner's individuality and for your own. Without it, resentment creeps in, the invisible kind that builds slowly over months and years until it becomes too heavy to carry. Imagine a young woman named Elena. She meets someone who feels like the answer to every prayer she's whispered into her pillow. He's attentive, charming, and seems to adore her. In the early months, she begins to cancel plans with friends to be with him. She stops painting, a hobby she once cherished, because their weekends are now dedicated to his interests. He doesn't demand these changes. She offers them willingly, thinking it proves her love. A year later, Alina realizes she hasn't seen her friends in months. Her easel collects dust. She finds herself hesitant to voice opinions that differ from his, afraid it will cause friction. She is still in the relationship, but she feels like a guest in her own life. What began as devotion slowly turned into self-erasure. The lesson here is not that love is dangerous, but that love must be built on the truth of who you are. If you dim your light to make someone else shine brighter, you will not only lose yourself, but also risk losing their respect. People may be drawn to your accommodating nature in the beginning, but over time, they subconsciously stop valuing what comes too easily. When you are willing to stand firm in your identity, you invite a deeper, more enduring kind of love. One that sees you, all of you, and embraces it. Meeting someone without losing yourself also requires that you understand your non-negotiables, the values, passions, and boundaries that make you who you are. Without this clarity, it's easy to get swept up in someone else's rhythm, mistaking their path for your own. Self-awareness acts like a compass. It keeps you oriented, even in the midst of emotional storms. When you know your direction, you can walk alongside someone without losing the trail that is uniquely yours. And here's the beautiful paradox: the more you hold on to yourself, the more you have to offer in love. You bring your partner new ideas, different perspectives, and a life that is rich with experiences outside of the relationship. This not only keeps your connection vibrant, but also ensures that your love grows out of mutual curiosity and respect rather than dependence.